What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with reactions to the classics. Today we got a reaction to Primus, their debut album, Frizzle Fry, brought to us by our friend, longtime supporter, and patron channel, Robert. Thank you, Robert. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below or the Patron link on the end screen. We could not do it without the patrons. All right, Trey did Pork Soda a long time ago, so there is a full album reaction up of that. Just type Primus in that box above, of course, after the reaction. But this one, as I mentioned, is their debut studio album, released February 7th of 1990. I was a very young man back then, by Caroline Records. Not that young, 19, but still. The band's first album, Suck on This. So this is their debut studio album, but there'll be some references to this other album, and you're going to be like, how is this their debut, Sean, if you're mentioning a previous album? But their debut, their first album, Suck on This, is a live recording culled from two of their Berkeley Square concerts. Produced by the band and Matt Weniger, this album was recorded at Different Fur Studios in San Francisco in December of 1989. In 2015, Primus frontman, of course, the great Les Claypool, said this was his favorite Primus album, and all lyrics are written by Les. All music is composed by Primus, unless I note otherwise. All right, if you've never done this before, the music won't be in the video, but it will be at a Vimeo link below. So click on that and check it out with us. All right, let's jump into it. With the opening track, To Defy the Laws of Tradition. The beginning of this is an excerpt from the instrumental YYZ by Rush from their 1981 album, of course, the classic Moving Pictures, sampled from the live version of John the Fisherman, which appears on Suck on This, that live album, and it's going to appear later on this. So I know that's a lot of weaving through, but I mean, that's what Les does, man. All right, I'm going to the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Robert. All right, what a way to start the album, To Defy the Laws of Tradition. So the songwriting on here is really good. He talks about all kinds of things. You know, a woman wearing white on her wedding day, even though most shouldn't, and all these traditional things. And even gets the whole Bill thing in there. I'm a Bill on Capitol Hill. If you're a kid in the 70s like me, you remember that Saturday morning commercial, but or public service announcement. Really well done. The bass work, obviously, with Les is going to be next level, one of the best bassists in the world. And Larry Lalonde on the guitar work is fantastic. You know, Les's vocals, they're never going to be like fantastic. It's really not what you come here for. You come from the complex musical structures. Next up, a song I don't have anything on, Groundhog's Day. All right, some trippy panning on there at the end. I think we're going to say this on every song. I don't want to be a broken record, so to speak, but the bass work and the guitar work is fantastic. The lyricism, just kind of all kinds of things going on here. You know, at Groundhog's Day, you think he's repeating the same day over and over. I sort of get that here. He just kind of is in this routine. You know, he brushes his teeth and he goes and eats. Lingering taste of toothpaste made the milk go down, a bit funny. I mean, I know a lot of people do this. I'm the minority here. Like, I don't brush my teeth right away. I eat first. I mean, at home. And then I brush my teeth. Because if you brush your teeth first, everything tastes... I don't know, man. Am I the only one that does that? I don't know. I digress, man. But, yeah, I mean, just a lot of little clever wordplay. I mean, like I said, Les's vocals, man, you got to get used to them, right? They may not be for everybody. Next up, we have the third track, Too Many Puppies, second single, first Primus song that Les Claypool ever composed. It's mostly about the band's reflection on war and how many soldiers are too young to go off to war, parodying the idea of the dogs of war by claiming the dogs are merely puppies. It was written 6 years prior to the first Persian Gulf War, despite being released in 1990. So a lot of people said it was about that, but it wasn't. It was possibly about violence happening around the region during that time period, such as the Soviet-Afghan War or Iran-Iraq War. In the outro of the song, Les relates to many of the soldiers, but states most are blind to see that they're repeating the actions of past wars fought for profit and greed. And guess what? We still are in 2024. All right, Too Many Puppies. Very clever lyricism on here. Les's strange delivery sticks in your head. The line goes, too many puppies, and the way they know how to bring the instrumentation in there to really pound that through. But yeah, man, it's really well done. And like I said, it's incredibly clever the way it's written. Next up, we have Mr. Know-It-All. All right, they call him Mr. Know-It-All. So basically in this song, he knows everything. Because in the last verse, it's like whatever rhymes with eloquent. So it kind of shows he's above it all. But at the end, he can't really, he's not really who he pretends to be, which most of us aren't, right? I mean, I am, of course. Most people are. All right, you know, same old bass work, guitar work, percussion, different roles there. Nicely done. Now we got the title track, Frizzle Fry. All right, Frizzle Fry. Apparently, it's about LSD. I can't tell you that for sure. I mean, I studied the lyrics. But all these, you know, it's about the arrangement as much as anything. I mean, there's a lot of good lyrics in here. But, the bass work, guitar work, and drumming, it's all on point in every song. It's not just the bass work. I know Wes gets a lot of acclaim, and as well he should. But the other instruments, they hold their own with him for sure. All right, now we got the song with by far the most info on this album. We got John the Fisherman, debut single, first released in December of '89 on that live album, Suck on This, then re-released a year later in May of 1990, which really isn't a year later, is it? It's 6 months. This time as the lead single. Less said of the song, John the Fisherman was written years ago. I like to write some songs about things I know about so that I don't sound like a dipshit talking over my head. I fish. Some dads take their kids to football games or baseball games. My dad took me fishing. That's what we did almost every weekend. My uncle, my grandfather, that's what we did. It's a big part of my history. So for me, it was always easy to write about. These fishing songs kept popping up, themes about the ocean, and it made it like a chronicle, a subdivision of our body of work, end quote. The single had very limited success due to it being released on an indie label at the first time, and the band did not receive mainstream attention until their next single, Jerry Was a Race Car Driver, from their 1991 major label debut, Sailing the Seas of Cheese. Because of this, many overlooked this song and claimed Jerry Was a Race Car was their first single. When Frizzle Fry was re-released in 2002, many fans who caught on during the major label days of the band bought the album and it became a fan favorite. There was a new interest in this song and received some radio and MTV airplay. It's the first part of a 4-part story called The Fisherman's Chronicles, which continued on Primus's later albums. Its immediate sequel was Fish On 1991's Sail in the Seas of Cheese, followed by the old Diamondback Sturgeon, and on 1993's Pork Soda, the album that Trey did a reaction to. And most recently, Last Salmon Man on 2011's Green Nagahai. And all the way up in 2014, Wes said, I remember years ago I was watching the news and they had talked about that there's this fishing boat that's gone down outside the Golden Gate Bridge. I believe it was a salmon boat. Apparently it had gotten struck by a cargo ship. They played the audio of this guy calling the Coast Guard, and it was unbelievably haunting to hear this guy going, there's a ship coming through the fog. It's going to hit us, going to hit us. And then that's all you hear. I remember him saying, oh my God, we're going down, or something to that effect. And that was it. That was all you heard. It just gave me chills. So I thought, what would be the story of this guy? So I built this whole story of John the Fisherman and the notion that they get struck. I don't know if it actually says it in the song, but oh my God, we're going down. It's taken from the account of that fishing vessel getting stuck, and they never found anybody. Wow, what a story. Okay, an interesting song because I think the lyricism is fantastic, and it shares when he grows up, that's what he wants to be as a fisherman, and then he's out, we get the Mayday call, he's been out 4 hours, all that good stuff. He's going to live and die as a fisherman. So I think the lyricism is great. The arrangement, it's good, but it's far less complex, and I would guess that's because it dates back several years that Les wrote it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this song when I come to my favorite tracks, but that's still a ways away. Now, we don't usually single out these tracks. It's 25 seconds. It's a snippet, but there is something about this song, so I'll just share it and play 25 seconds. Which, like I said, I don't normally do it that way. You Can't Kill Michael Malloy, performed by Matt Winiger. 25 seconds, instrumental. The title refers to a man in the 1930s that survived numerous murder attempts from his 5 acquaintances, including drinking antifreeze, eating a sandwich of spoiled sardines, poison, and thumbtacks, and being left outside overnight in negative 14-degree Fahrenheit weather to try to freeze him to death. Eventually, he was killed after the group put a hose in his mouth where he's passed out and filled him with coal gas, which made him die of pneumonia within the hour. This is an excerpt from the Spent Poets song of the same name. The album's producer, Matt Winiger, of course, who also recorded and produced Suck on This, was a member of Spent Poets. So I spent way more time than whatever this clip is going to be. Okay. I should have just let it be. I have nothing to say. I mean, it's fine. I have nothing to say about it, but my completionist self wanted to tell you the info and I should have just left it be. Now I get on to a proper song. I don't have any info for it. The Toys Go Winding Down. All right, The Toys Go Winding Down. Not really sure what it's about. Now, according to my research, I can't tell you this as a fact. The lyrics come straight from Toys 1988. This is the name of the song. By Sausage, Les Claypool's funk rock band before Primus. I can't tell you that's for sure, but the bass work was really pumped up even more than normal on this one. So it's definitely possible that is the case. All right, now we're going to go to Pudding Time. And then there's a 24-second song afterwards. There is lyrics to it called Sathington Willoughby. I'm just going to play those back to back. Okay, Pudding Time. I'm just a broken record on these. I mean, the bass work on here, the guitar work, and the drumming, all three of them, which has surprised me because I don't know a ton of Primus, how good all three are. I knew Claypool was going to be on deck, but that was good. Sathington Willoughby, seems like Les has an even crazier voice on this, but It actually has a verse and an outro. He crams a lot in just 24 seconds. We got Spaghetti Western. Spaghetti's not spelled the right way, but, that's all right. All right, Spaghetti Western, which is basically a guitar and bass solo throughout with just this spoken word almost. Me singing a little bit, but more of a spoken word from Wes there in the middle. But I mean, it's just kind of a show off of the musicianship, which is a good show off. All right, we really only got one song left and then just a little snippet at the end, but I'll go ahead and play this song and then we'll talk about it and then we'll do the little snippet at the end. All right, Herald of the Rocks. Over 6 minutes, same old in a good way. Bass work, guitar work, drumming. I think Harold was addicted to crack cocaine and maybe he died. I don't know. Wes did a little spoken word at the end. I think that's what he was alluding to. And we're simply going to have an instrumental reprise of the first track to Defy the Laws of Tradition, 36 seconds here to finish it off. All right, just bookending it. I don't mind when artists do this. I think it's kind of cool. It kind of gives this album sort of a full circle closure, right? We start and finish with the same thing sort of whenever we do that. So I always like that. Now we're going to go to my favorite tracks. Honorable mention, John the Fisherman. Remember I told you I didn't know what to do with it on here? It's still a good song. And then my faves are going to be Too Many Puppies and to defy the Laws of Tradition, the first track, not the reprise. Now we'll get to my overall score. Look, I thought just going into it that, it'd probably just be a Les Claypool showcase, which it was. This guy's a fantastic bassist for a reason. A very good lyricist. Singing is, for me, but it's not really what it's about. You kind of got to listen to this whole album. I don't know that pulling a song out is going to do that much for you. I think a lot of it's similar sounding because they have a sound, which is not a bad thing. But I was really surprised at Herb Alexander's drumming and percussion was fantastic. And then Larry Lalonde on acoustic and electric guitar. His electric guitar work was fantastic as well. Now, Wikipedia is wrong if you go look at the wiki for this from all the other stuff that I researched on the side. Yes, I always go to the wiki, but I always look for a ton of other stuff too. Wikipedia is almost always right nowadays. It wasn't that way in the old days, but it has Todd Huth doing a lot of the guitar melodies on here. He left the band. He's only officially on one song. That's the acoustic on The Toys Go Winding Down. So it is not really him on these tracks. It's Larry. That's everything that I read. So Larry did a fantastic job as well. So if this is your kind of music, and honestly, this is not the kind of music I'm going to listen to on my own, but I'm glad I got to hear it. Wes is a maestro, and like I said, the rest of the band is fire. So for this kind of music, it is an 8.0, man. Very good request by Robert. Let me know what you think of this down below, but let me know also where you think this fits in their catalog. And like I said, Pork Soda's up. Just type Primus up in the bar above, and you can go watch my counterpart on this channel, Trey, my son, do that one. All right, guys, if you haven't already, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, guys, I will see ya.